Good morning and welcome to the porch, and also welcome to the shooting range this morning. Now guys, we got a video I think is going to be fun today, and I wanted to invite you guys along with it. Some testing and reviewing we're going to be doing on a new pistol. And this particular pistol, I've been wanting this thing for quite a long time, and I finally broke down and bought it the other day. But I'm excited about it. And let me tell you what we're going to do, and then I'll show you the pistol. Here in a few minutes, we're going to do a tabletop review on this pistol, and we're going to be testing this pistol. We've already started filming some of the testing, but we got quite a bit more. We're going to test this pistol through about 4 or 5 different areas, and then we'll come back at the end of the video and we're going to do a summary review on the pistol. So in the beginning, we're going to do the tabletop, which is just simply going to be, this is what the pistol is, and this is the features that are on the pistol. Go through a series of testing, and at the end, we'll come in and do a summary review that says this is what we found out as we tested the video. And I'll explain that as the video goes along. But let me show you what we got here right quick. This is a neat gun right here. Let's go ahead and do the safety check on it right quick. Magazine's empty. Okay, this is the mighty Glock 40 10mm. And guys, when I first seen this gun, I wanted it so bad, but I just really couldn't justify it. So I just waited a while, and after a while, I still couldn't justify it, but I bought it anyway. And that's the way we do sometimes as men. But I love the looks of this gun, and I really like the 10mm round. So we got the gun. We're going to do the testing and reviewing everything on it for you guys. And again, hang around to the end, because we're going to cover some really important information that you don't always see when somebody does a review on a gun. There's some good reviews out there on the Glock 40, don't get me wrong. But we're going to do a little different review on it, a little different on some of the testing and things like that, and let you guys see that. And I think you'll enjoy it. All right, guys. All right, let's go ahead and do the tabletop review on this new Glock that we've ended up with. Of course, it comes in the box. They used to send 3 magazines with the Glocks, but they don't anymore. You only get 2. Get the magazine in the box, and then of course the one in the gun itself. And so you don't get quite as much as you used to. And I'm not going to go through a lot of things. You do get extra beaver tails. I've already installed one of them on the gun. And then you get this little easy loader thing with it as well. And those are really helpful, especially when your hands get old like mine. I really like that. So let's move the box to one side and let's talk about the gun, because that's what's more important than the box is. Okay, this is a Glock. Well, let's go ahead and do this. Unloaded, no magazine in it, and we're going to go ahead and drop the hammer on it. Okay, Glock G40. This is a 6.2-inch barrel. Gun's 9 inches overall, and it holds 15 rounds plus 1, so 16 rounds of 10mm, which it is a 10mm. It has the typical Glock trigger. Let's do that again, making sure we've got it in a safe direction. Got some travel on it, but that's just Glock. And then a little spongy, but it's just a Glock trigger. There's nothing to say about it other than it is what it is. Now, a lot of people don't like the Glock trigger, and I understand that. If you're used to shooting something like a 1911, this is a whole lot different trigger. But I can actually shoot with them decently, and I don't mind the triggers so bad. Now, sometimes I do go ahead and go in and tune the triggers up, and we probably will this at some point, but right now we're just going to shoot it for a while. Now, let's, this is a Gen 4, so it's got the finger grooves in it, and some people say they don't like them. I don't mind them. They're all right with me. It has the Glock plastic sights on it. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus. Probably not going to get it to focus good right there, but anyway, got the little U thing here and then the white dot on the end. And it does have windage and elevation adjustment on this. And oh, by the way, it has the MOS plate here on it. And we're probably going to put a red dot on it. We've actually got a red dot for it right now. That came off of another gun, but at any rate, we'll probably put it on this gun because it's a hunting gun. But I don't want to get too hung up on anything other than the gun. I want to do the tabletop review on it. And so there's not a whole lot to tell. This thing weighs, I think, 44 ounces fully loaded, and it's a heavy gun. We've ordered a chest holster for it. Never had a chest holster, so that's going to be a new thing for us. But pretty much that's it. I'm not going to take the gun apart on the tabletop review or anything like that. If you've seen one Glock, you've seen them all. And it's just basically a really neat gun. And I like Glock 40s. I've been wanting one for a long time, so now I've got one. And we've been shooting it a little bit. It's the reason it's showing a little wear and a little bit of gunpowder on it, some things like that. But overall, that's pretty much all I can say about the gun itself. And we'll be showing you guys some video on some tests we've done with it. So you guys hang out for that, because the videos on the test and stuff are kind of interesting in what they reveal to us. Okay guys, I'm going to stop right here on this part and then we'll move to the next part of the video. Stay with us. All right guys, here we are with the Glock G40 in 10 millimeter. This gun is loaded. We're getting ready to do a accuracy test with it, and we're using MagTech ammunition, 180 grain target rounds. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. Clear? Let's go see how we did. Okay guys, she's hot out here today, but we're going to try to get this accuracy test done. Now the Glock is unloaded now. Let's see if we can lock this thing open. Let everybody see. Magazine's empty. We're going to close this thing back up. Set her down here on the table. Let's talk about the target. As you can see, we're shooting high and to the right. Now that was only 7 yards, but I wasn't interested in doing long range stuff. I just wanted to see if the gun was accurate for now, because we have some other tests following this that we need to be sure that it's got some accuracy to it. And you start getting out there 20 and 25 and 50 yards and 75 or whatever a lot of people shoot. That's legitimate stuff, but that's not going to tell us what I want to know. I want to know that that gun will put them nearly in the same hole at 21 feet. So that's what we're doing. As you can see, we have 5 shots here, 4 of them in the same hole, 1 just a little bit high. But what does this answer for us concerning the Glock 40? Well, it tells us that the gun is accurate. It does what it's supposed to do. So this is the test for accuracy on the Glock 40, and we're going to move on to some other tests as well. We're going to move to some velocity tests and 1 or 2 other things. I hadn't decided just what that'll be, but this concludes the accuracy test. I'm satisfied that it's accurate. Now you may say, well, it's not in the bullseye. Well, the sights probably need drifted, and you got to be careful about doing that too soon before you test the gun completely, because different ammunition will land in different places. Once I do all the testing with the gun and get it ready to do the review on, then I will decide what rounds I'm going to carry in it, and I will reset the sights for those particular rounds, and should be able to put them in the bullseye when we do that. Okay, guys, that's it for this portion of it. Let's get ready to move on to something else. All right, guys, what we're going to do for this first test with the Glock 40 is we're going to be at 7 yards, and we're just going to do a freestanding shoot and see how well we shoot this particular gun. Let's get shooting. Okay, guys, let's go down and see how we did. Okay, guys, let's shoot some water jugs just for grins and giggles. Have some fun. Good morning, and welcome to the porch, and welcome to the shooting range. This morning, we're going to be doing some testing. We're going to run some ammunition across the chronograph, see what kind of speed we're getting out of it. And we're going to be running it through this Glock G40. Now let's go ahead and safety check this gun. Safety check, nothing in the barrel. Magazine's not in it. We do have the magazine loaded with some ammunition, but we're going to keep it over here and keep the gun right here. So we have 3 different types of ammunition. Let me get that up there and see if you can see it. That's kind of hard to get that camera to focus, but 3 different types there. We have a V-Crown hollow point running at 1325, and that's out of a 5-inch barrel. This hard cast red bullet here is running at 1325 also out of a 5-inch. And then we just have some factory rounds here, MagTech. We don't know what they're running, but we're going to find out. But the idea this morning, what we're trying to accomplish is we're wanting to know if this 6-inch barrel, which is 1 inch longer than the 5-inch, of course, that we've been shooting Kimber 5-inch. This is actually at 1.2 inches longer. It's 6.2-inch barrel. And we want to know how much velocity we gain, if any, by going to the 6-inch barrel. Just trying to learn some things here. Okay, let me go ahead and change my camera view, and we're going to get started testing these guys. Okay, I'm ready. You? Okay. The next one will be a SIG V-Crown 165 grain 10 millimeter. Okay, the next one will be a 155 grain hard cast 10 millimeter. Ready? Ready. Clear? Okay guys, what we're going to do is a ballistic test on our hollow points. All right guys, we made a little bit of a mistake. I didn't get the camera on of me shooting the gun, but we did catch it on the secondary camera of the thing hitting the jugs here. So at least we've got that. But let's see how far this thing actually went, and we'll go from there. There's jug number one. I'm good and wet. Jug number two, almost dead center of that little round thing, came out of it. Jug number three, still in that little round target. Well, it looks like jug number three was where we ended up at. So let's see what we have here. Okay, jug number three, it didn't penetrate it, but let's see how far that thing penetrated. Looks like it penetrated 18 inches in the jug. So, yeah, that's about what we expect right there, about 18 inches. So, the upside is this hollow point really did do very well. I'm hoping that I'm getting that. It's hard for me to see. It's shaded right here, and it's hard for me to see what the camera's doing. But that is a 165 grain SIG V crown running at 13. Well, in a 5-inch, it's running at 1325. Now we're going to do a ballistics test and see what it's doing out of that 6-inch barrel. But we're going to do that ballistics test tomorrow because I'm good and wet today, and I'm going to have to dry some of my equipment out because I got it good and wet. But anyway, pretty impressive. All right, what we're going to do right now is we're going to do a penetration test with the Glock 40, and firearm is unloaded. We'll load it up. We'll do a penetration test and see where we're at. Clear? Okay, good solid hit there, center. Cleared board number one, board number two, board number three. That's going to be a little hard to get out of there and split it. Okay, board number four, it went to, you can see the bullet right there in board number four. So it had pretty good penetration. So you had 4 boards, almost clean through, but not quite through the 4th one. That hard cast bullet there, as you can see it. But that tells us that what that 6-inch barrel will do with a hard cast. That's a 155 grain bullet running at, actually out of that 6-inch barrel, it's running about 1,400 feet per second. So it's hitting pretty hard. But it went through a lot of 2x4s. I guess that tells us a little bit anyway. All right. We decided to come in the office and do the final thoughts on this Glock pistol, the G40, and let's go ahead and do what we should always do. Gun is empty. Magazine is empty. I'm going to go ahead and drop that hammer. Okay. What we tried to understand about this gun is, for the way we're going to use it, how does it perform? And I'm going to be looking at my notes here as we go because we covered a lot of stuff. Covered 7 phases on this gun, just doing the tabletop and the tests that we wanted to do. This gun performed very well, but I'm going to set the gun down and get my notes, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put on my glasses so that I can actually see my notes. Okay, we did the tabletop review, and that was just to cover all of the things that are actually features that are on the gun. Then we went to a gun accuracy test. And as you guys seen it, the gun on arrest was accurate. And I put it on the rest because that takes the equation, the human equation, mostly out of it. It gives you a real idea of what the gun is capable of. And it shoots very true. And even with the human element out of it as much as we can, we still had a little of that in there. But what we did understand is the gun does what it's supposed to do. That's the important thing there. Then we wanted to do an accuracy test. I'm going to call it a Paul accuracy test. How does Paul shoot the gun? Well, at 7 yards, I wasn't super impressive, but I've watched some other guys shoot too. And I'm probably running about average in my shooting, so we'll take that. I'd like to do better, but now there's information there to be had, data. I need to practice with that gun more before I carry it, okay? So we have that, and we understand that we need to practice. So this is information we gain when we test guns to understand what we should do next. All right, then we did a velocity test, did 3 different rounds, and I'm going to just kind of hit the high spots on that. We did the V Crown, we did the factory ammo, which was MagTech, and we did my hard cast reloads, the red tipped ones. And what we learned out of that was let's talk about the red tip one first, even though it wasn't the first one we did. The red tip one, we got about 100 plus feet per second more out of the 6-inch barrel than we did the 5-inch barrel. So that's good information to know. Increased our velocity. On the V Crown, that wasn't very impressive. We increased velocity about 15, 20 feet per second. I don't quite understand that, but it is what it is. That's the numbers are what they are, and they don't lie. So we got to think about that a little bit. But then we just tested the factory load MagTech. I just wanted to know how hot it was loaded, just for future in case I decide to buy some more. And it was at 1,200 feet per second. Now we did a 3-round average on all of those, and that was fairly impressive for factory loads for a 10 millimeter. They're normally not very hot, but that was pretty decent. Then we did a ballistics test, and I want to talk about that ballistics test just a little bit. Let me get something here to look at. Okay, there's that V Crown. Now, what I wanted to know is how that would perform. In one sense, as far as expansion goes, it performed very well, but there was a problem. The problem was we didn't have hardly any penetration. Now, I went back and did the math on the penetration. Now, when you're using water jugs, there's a mathematical formula you can use to equate that to 10% ballistics gel test, which is what the FBI uses. And so once I did the formula and equated all that, we only had about 10, maybe 11-inch penetration. Now, there's not any perfect science to that formula, but it's as close as you can get. So we had very low penetration. It dumped all of its energy in the first jug, actually. And that's not ideal for a 10 millimeter. It would be ideal for some rounds, but not the 10 millimeter because of what I got it to use for. It's not a carry gun for protection from the 2-legged snakes. It's for more 4-legged, bigger animals and things like that. So that V Crown is not going to work in that 10 millimeter. So we're going to do a little bit of testing of ammo, and we're going to come up with a better round in the hollow point side of it. And also, we're going to actually go to a heavier round on the hard cast later on. The V Crown, I will quickly say this. we built some for a 40 caliber, and those guys work perfect in a 40 caliber. I mean, they work really, really well. But they're slowed down to about 1,050 feet per second. Coming out of that 6-inch barrel Glock, they're running at 14 plus. And it's just that difference that causes it to overexpand. And I don't like that. So the V crown from a 10 millimeter, we're not going to load any more of those. It just simply won't work for us. So that's what we learned from the ballistics test. Now, penetration test. I run a penetration test because if you shoot a gun, you really need to know how that penetration works before you send that bullet out, especially if you're in a place where that bullet may go somewhere you don't want it to go. It went through, let's just say 4 boards, because it actually almost got through the 4th one. It hit the 5th one and just kind of lodged in that 5th one or 4th one instead of going into the 5th one. But long and short of the story on that right there is this, is that it has a lot of penetration. Now that's fine, because if you shoot a bear, especially a 700-800 pound bear, you need that penetration. That was fine. 155 bullets too light. We're going to change that. More data, more decision making, but now we know what we want to do to change it. Now I want to talk a little bit about function test. We didn't show you guys the full function test. You just got to see us shoot some. But here's the thing, that thing operated with, I don't know, I think I ran 4 or 5 different kinds of ammunition through it. We shot it quite a bit, and it functioned perfectly. So the function test was great. I have no complaints about the gun whatsoever. And a person may think, well, that trigger that you mentioned in the beginning, is that a problem? I like better triggers than that, and I'll probably make that trigger better, but it's not a problem for me. That trigger, I think I gauged it and it was like 6.2 pounds or something like that. A little bit too much for fine accuracy shooting. Well, it's a lot too much, really. But mostly when you do trigger jobs on the Glock, you're going to end up with about 4 pounds if you're lucky. And they do real good at 4 pounds, but you're not going to get that 1911 style trigger. So having said all of that, where does the Glock shake out at a 1 through 10? Now, when you do a 1 through 10, you have to take into consideration, what are you going to do with the gun? What did you buy it for? Now, for what I bought that gun for, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 10. Now, here's the reason I'm going to give it a 10. Even though the trigger pull is not perfect, that's a hunting gun. I can hunt with that gun plenty good and hit plenty good with it to do everything I need to do. So I give it a 10 because it'll do everything I need it to do and everything I want it to do. And, you know, guys, I'm going to quickly say this. Having a 10 millimeter running at magnum speeds that you can put 15 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the pipe, 16 rounds, that is really kind of nice. Do you need that many rounds? Well, you know, if you got a 700-800 pound, 1,000-pound grizzly bear coming at you, that's one place that I'm all right with a high capacity gun. I've got a Kimber I have some 10 round mags for it. But if I got that big of a bear running at me, it's what I want in my hand. Got a little more velocity plus a lot more rounds. We give this baby a 10, and I'm glad I bought it. I love this thing. It's a little bit heavy, but it's really not bad heavy for a gun that's shooting magnum rounds to it. Okay, guys, that's pretty much all I can say about the gun. She's a winner. Thank you guys for watching our video. We here at the Porch love you. We want the best for you. May God bless, and have a good day.